So yeah, I'm back. Wasn't going to do a video, but yes, I'm back, and I'm going to keep it very, very short because there isn't really all much to show. And again, I'm not going to be unveiling it until the episode, or if we do a little trailer for it. I've got an idea of what I want to do for the trailer. But yeah, I have been on the build. It does look very squat at the minute. I am doing a massive bit at the minute, as in, there comes a time on any build where it comes to a really ugly stage, and all you have to do is you've just got to keep powering through, to keep going. People are going to have no idea what this is looking like. So basically, essentially what I've done is in that corner over there is the top half of the shoulders. I've made the shoulders a little too tall. I've been looking at paradigms, over the course of God knows how long. I've also got the 18-inch toy version, even though it's not really a toy. And I figured, as I went on about last time, it's like when you're drawing characters, you go with head scale, and it'll be like, so one head is equivalent to, two heads would be equivalent to legs, two heads would be that, sort of thing. So what I've said, but the paradigms completely do a different thing, and I try to, make it work, but it comes to a point where you're like, it doesn't actually work, trying to put it into a normal Dalek scale. So the thing with paradigms, I think I've noticed, the base and the neck are exactly the same height. So mine being only 200 millimeters, sorry, so 20 centimeters. The skirt is the biggest part on the paradigm. It's the longest bit ever as well. And mine comes to about 71, something like that. I think. In fact, might as well just get a tape measure, because I can't remember, and I don't want to say false, things without, It roughly comes to now, because I have had to change it. 73. Yes, 73. So 73 centimeters, 730. I've added on new panels, the outer panels, because it just didn't look right, and yes, that means all this work from the DSD is, these bumps are getting ripped off and these new panels are being added on. It just makes the build look like a paradigm then. I have gone in detail on the Dalek Builders page about it. So yeah, I'm currently halfway through with cutting the shoulders. Like I say, I made them a bit too big. When I look back at the DSD, I'm like, oh god, I've made this way too big, tall wise. It is meant to be, it's meant to look tall but squat at the same time, because if it's too tall, I've got a fear of it tipping over. I'm sitting inside this design, so, and it's me and my OCD. I'm getting to the point now, like, when I looked at stuff, any build, I'm like, oh god, that looks completely out of proportion. Proportions have to matter to me, and everyone else will be like, oh, it don't matter, it's a Dalek. It really has to matter. It's like men with their cars, it's got to have a certain look to it in order to be appealing, and that's what's happened with the Daleks, with me basically. I have been doing bits on, there's a new gun here because the other one was a little too broad, because again, I did it to the paradigm plans, and then I thought, oh no, I am scaling down this Dalek, so that also needs scaling down. But yeah, right now, I'm going to get on the other chair. Really sorry for this, because the kitchen, literally at the minute, is just, there's so much dust everywhere from it. But yeah, as you can see, and that's roughly where it'll be with the shoulders. The shoulders are meant to be very squat. And there's the toy one. In fact, let's get the toy one. I don't want to keep the video too long, but I want to show, so I'm not looking like I'm talking nonsense. Because it does matter if it's a paradigm. And I have had a few requests, but that'll be for the future. So, the base looks always big. So like I say, the base and the neck are about the same height. The shoulders, as you can see, they look similar in height, but they're not. They are a lot squatter. And then, as mentioned, the skirt is the longest bit. I mean, technically all the time Dalek skirts are the longest. But yeah, normally then the shoulders are then quite tall and then the neck is small. But for some reason they completely changed it. They made the base and the neck tall, and then they narrowed the shoulders quite a bit. The dome is just technically always the same dome. You know, they're always the same height and same width, which is about 500 millimeters, 50 centimeters, to give you an idea of how big they are. So yeah, I want to fix it, but I also want it to be a paradigm at the same time. So it has been a bit of a, like I say, trying to make the shoulders bigger. It just doesn't look right at all. Really doesn't look right, and I've had to figure out fins. That's the story of my builds. And again, I'm not going from plans. This is my Dalek, my interpretation of the paradigms, and hopefully fixes them. And I'm saying that while I'm turning around. But yeah, at the minute it's quite squat, but it's just got to look right, you know. If it's too tall, it looks too narrow. But yeah, and don't worry, they're still coming along nicely. I've just got to get this done because, like I say, filming. And I think I'm repeating myself. People don't need to hear this again. They just want a brief update. So yes, that is a very brief update. I'm still doing bits on the gun, the arm. Oh, and then the base. I've managed to get. That was a story. I basically had to rip this apart from the base because of what I was trying. It was taking too long, and I have basically wasted 30 quid of filler. I'll explain in the future. Right now is a little too much. But yes, it is looking good, and I'm very happy. And starting to. I say it's starting to take. Basically, long story. Brief explanation on why things are not going quite to plan. So my job is basically, I've been switched over at the minute. I am currently looking for new stuff. My shifts are a 0-hour contract, so I'm only called in when they need me. Some days are cancelled, some days, you know, that sort of thing. And then when I'm at work, you could literally be there for only a few hours. It's very unpredictable. You know, there was one time, went in at not 7:30, that's my old job. Went in at about 6:45 or 7:30, depending how I get there, depending on time. I'll be there from 7 until sometimes just 10 o'clock, and that's not a lot of money, is it? So it's like I'm trying to balance out money between my daily life. You know, I've got to eat, I've got to do stuff. I'm not paying board at the minute because this is not my house, you know, sort of thing. So that's a bit of a gripe when, you know, you're living under someone else's house. So no board is happening because I just can't afford it for that. And then I've got to get these fins done. These are going very slowly. The price of everything's just plywood. No, let's say MDF. MDF back in the day. In 2017, for a 4x8 sheet, a standard sheet, used to be 20 quid. Now they've boosted it up to like, what, 35 quid or 40 quid, depending on thickness. So, like, everything used to be so much cheaper. Now they've just skyrocketed. Silicone, for when I want to mould that, I've got an idea. I've got how I know I'm going to mould it. But my God, is it going to cost a lot of money? Because I'm not having that as the part because it will get damaged, and I'm not wanting it. After all the hours I've printed on that neck, I want a fiberglass cast. The same for the shoulders because of how much work went into them, and they're just so annoying. This will be a timber skirt and base for the episode. The dome's always fiberglass because of how you have to produce them. But yeah, it's just a pain is doing all this. But yeah, that's a brief video. 10 minutes will do. So yeah, my looking for a new job because I need, or even a secondary job, because I can still work at one job if I decide to work on a Friday, you know, just extra money sort of thing. And hopefully this other job, if not, I'm just anything at the minute because I really don't care what profession it is. I would like to do something like tilling, but I can't do money, so that's no good to me. But yeah.